Hey everybody, today I'm going to be counting down the top 5 best features of the Norwegian Breakaway. By doing so, I have to go ahead and give you the top 5. I guess would it be the top 5 or the least 5? Well, the 5 worst features, no less, of the Norwegian Breakaway.
It's cruise day! So excited!
I'll be honest, the Norwegian Breakaway was not at the top of my list. I always want to end on a positive note, so I'm going to start with the 5 worst. Counting down from the not so terrible to deal breaker. I mean, maybe not. I'm sure I would go on the Norwegian Breakaway again, so I don't want to get so over the top. Moving on, number 5, there is no wine bar. Now you might be thinking, that's ridiculous. Who cares about wine? I drink Captain and Coke. Tequila on the rocks, margaritas, mango meltdown, mudslide, wine, who cares? Me. And I'm going to clarify this. This is only important to those of you that enjoy wine like I do. I don't drink most of those other types of drinks. Now, in the unlimited beverage package, yes, it includes every drink $15 and under, which includes wine. So there'll be probably about 5 or 6 wines on that list. But at the wine bar, on some of the other Norwegian ships, the wine list is a bit more extensive. So they may have some for $16, $17, $20 a glass. And the great news is that you only pay the difference. So if it's $16, it's $1 surcharge and you get to try a different glass of wine. Also, they usually have very knowledgeable employees working at the wine bar to educate you on the flavors and the notes and the pairings and the history and all kinds of fun stuff. Number 4 will be the lack of access to the Lido deck from the pool deck. Now let me explain. Other ships, our kids love to be in the pool, and we love laying by the pool for the most part if we can get a seat. Now, it wasn't always easy to do. There's not a lot of seats by the kids' pool on the Breakaway. The adult pool, that gets very busy and very congested. When the kids want to be on the water slides and they want to be in the kids' pool area, sometimes we like to just go up a few steps to the Lido deck. However, a little bit inconvenient and irritating is they only have access on each end deck and not in the middle. So I'm coming down from the sports complex to the sun deck, and I'm on the very aft of the ship walking forward. So behind the stairs that I was coming down, of course there's a set of stairs to go down even further. But this is just to give you a visual of the walk to the other set of stairs. Typically right about here on the other side of the jogging track is where you'd find a set of steps to go down, right where both of the pools meet up. The water slides are over there. Yet you have to continue on through this other sunning area, which gets quite congested during the day, especially during peak sun hours or at sea days. So trying to walk through there can sometimes be a little bit of an obstacle depending on how the chairs are set up. So you'll see just down the way is a set of steps. Now this is the first area where you're able to either go up, and then to the right of the steps you'll see another set where you can go down. Number 3 is the long lines at the bars. And I mean all the bars, always. The only time there wasn't a line I found, which was when we were on port days, if we got back on the ship several hours prior to the onboard time, we could find a seat at a bar on the waterfront, which was very nice. Now this is if they were open. There might have been 1 or 2, but they all weren't open. And several of the bars on the inside additionally aren't open, which just makes the pool bar even busier. But we found at night while we're at sea, everyone's on board, and there was not a bar to be found that didn't have a line 4 or 5 deep. The one tip I will add is the Prime Meridian Bar. Now this bar is located right in between Cagney's and Moderno Brazilian Steakhouse. Most people only went to that bar if you were dining at one or the other of those restaurants, which meant that it was never as packed as the rest of the bars. So that leads me into my number 2. Number 2 is the size of the adult pool. It was crazy packed. I mean, crazy packed. There was nowhere to move. If you want to spend time at the adult pool, I would suggest getting up early, saving your spot. Don't save your spot and then leave and for many, many hours and come back, because I am not a fan of that. But save your spot and get out and start getting some sun time early. And number 1, now if you saw my other videos on the Breakaway, you'll know that my kids got very, very ill, and we were hearing about so many passengers getting ill on this particular cruise. I found that the attention to detail on the cleaning just wasn't there like it had been on every other Norwegian cruise we were on. I don't know what was going on. I noticed that the buttons on the elevator seemed fingerprinted all the time so that they weren't being cleaned often. Walking into the buffet, there were numerous entrances at Garden Cafe where they weren't spraying hands upon entry. And I'm not blaming the Breakaway for our illnesses, because who knows how all that transpired. But I didn't like the lack of focus to detail, especially knowing the coronavirus and everything else that's going around. There's the 5 worst. Let's get on to the good stuff. Number 5 would be Shanghai's Noodle Bar. Why, you ask? Just a simple Asian restaurant? Because sometimes the complimentary restaurants can be limiting on their food choices. Breakaway class ships have 3 different complimentary restaurants: the Manhattan Room, Taste, and Savor. All those restaurants have the exact same menu for lunch and dinner. If you want variety in food, it's hard to get it without having a specialty dining package, except when they have little gems like Shanghai Noodle Bar. This is a great Asian restaurant. It was very, very popular. They have spring rolls and pot stickers, ramen, pad thai, lo mein, any type of Asian flavor that you could want. And they were also open for lunch. Number 4, this is a personal preference. I know that everybody has their preference or their opinions on Starbucks, but I was so overjoyed that Norwegian Breakaway is brewing Starbucks coffee. They don't have the actual Starbucks shop. It didn't matter because it tasted exactly the same. I drink black coffee and I don't put cream and sugar in it. Hence why I'm calling it black coffee. And I taste the coffee that I drink, so it has to be good. The price was right. I want to say it was $2.50 for a large. It might have been $2.75. I thought that's pretty similar to what it is at the stores on land. And I love getting that every morning, because I have to say that Norwegian ships have the worst complimentary coffee. It is terrible. I try a sip just to see, like, okay, let's see if I can do the complimentary coffee. No, I cannot. It is just not good. So, number 4, Starbucks coffee. Number 3, sticking with the food theme here. Number 3 is the Moderno Breakfast. Moderno is on deck 8. It also has seating on the waterfront. I love that they have all the basic standard breakfast items at a buffet that's not busy, it's not overcrowded with people, and they're seating outside. There were always tables available, so I think everybody wants to go up to the buffet, and we like to avoid the crowds. And sometimes I think a lot of the germs come from up there. It's just a lot of people and a lot of hands touching, and it's just not my thing. But then I also don't want to necessarily sit down at one of the sit-down restaurants to be served my breakfast, since it is all the same. It's the same, whether you order it at Taste or Savor, or you grab it at the buffet or the Moderno buffet. Even Margaritaville. That's another good one. But it didn't make my list because those are leaving the Norwegian ships very shortly, if they haven't already. Which, by the way, it's already left the Norwegian Breakaway since we got off the ship. Number 2, what I love about the Norwegian Breakaway, and my kids did as well, is the numerous amount of kids' activities. They have a rock wall, they have a ropes course, they have numerous water slides, and they have a great little mini golf course. All of those things are free. Now, the Breakaway Plus class ships, they are advertising go-karts and laser tag and really cool things, but these things take up a lot of space, they cost extra money, and for us, you know, we're spending all this money to get on board and to get there. We don't want to be nickel and dimed, and we find just as much fun with the free things. Oops, I did forget to mention the basketball court. My kids love that as well. All free, so much to do, and in addition is the Kids Club. It's Splash Academy for the elementary kids and Entourage Teen Club. I have one child in the Splash Academy, one in the Entourage Teen Club. Both equally loved being there on this ship. I had read on a Facebook post about somebody who had done Carnival or Norwegian, and they said on Carnival cruises, you have to convince your kids to go to the Kids Club. On Norwegian cruise ships, you have to convince your kids to come to dinner with you. And that was our experience. Our kids didn't have dinner with us, not one night. Nope, because they wanted to be to the Kids Club nice and early right when it opened up, and I loved that they enjoyed it and that the Norwegian staff spent so much time to ensure that it was a good time for them. So that is my number 2. And my number 1 is, and this is the case on probably any ship in this class or the Breakaway Plus class, is the waterfront. Deck 8, I'm obsessed with it. I go out there early in the morning when nobody's around, and I'll get some exercise while I'm out there. I'll hopefully catch a sunrise when I'm out there in the afternoons. It's a nice, relaxing, it can be quiet place to read if you want to read a book. It's just beautiful. It is, if you're in an inside cabin, it's a great place to be able to enjoy the outdoors without feeling like you have to go to the pool area. I love the waterfront, and that is a great feature on the Breakaway. So now, while I mentioned that the Breakaway was not my favorite ship and not anywhere towards the top from the Norwegian ships that we have gone on, there are some great features, and it's a great ship. I hope this has helped you. If you're going on the Breakaway coming up, let me know what you thought. And if you've already gone, let me know if you have any other features that you thought were fantastic or that stood out to you as not so good. But thanks for stopping, and we'll see you next time. Bye!